Let's go.
Is this real? Did I really just spend precious hours of my life listening to Too Much Volcano on repeat so that I could transcribe it? Are there not better, more interesting pieces of music and artists I could be talking about? Yes, and debatably, but I'm doing it anyway. Too Much Volcano is a collaborative rap song by Chris Broad of Abroad in Japan, featuring lyrics by Joey the Anime Man and Natsuki, the real star of Abroad in Japan. Honestly, if you've found this video, I'm sure you're familiar with them, and I don't think they need much of an introduction. On the latest series of Abroad in Japan's journey across Japan, titled The Lost Islands, doubling as Natsuki's holiday, Chris, Joey, and Natsuki were challenged to write a rap song about their day, and with one of the main events being a visit to Mount Aso, the song was appropriately named by the Chad Natsuki himself.
Too much volcano.
Too much, that's fitting, volcano.
On the surface, the song might just seem like a silly challenge that the boys managed to complete in a few hours, but let's take an extremely detailed and totally not pretentiously over-analytical look into the genius that is Too Much Volcano.
ASO, so much volcano, come on, yeah. No volcano.
The track begins with the sound of a distant volcano eruption, immediately cueing us into the inspiration behind the song. This is then followed by a bass synth playing a dance-funk rhythm emphasizing offbeats and syncopations. While Chris mentions that he made this with an app using simple loops, it's still worth noting that for a non-musician selecting the actual sequence of loops, it does actually follow the basics of good composition and songwriting. The bass gently eases us into the introductory section, with Natsuki's Let's Go transitioning into the main instrumental we'll be hearing during the chorus.
Let's go.
For the most part, the bass continues playing this way for the rest of the track, with minor variations every 4 bars or so. This keeps the E minor key steady throughout the song, but the harmonic movement in the synth pad gives it some interesting textures to accompany the early 90s electronic hip-hop sounds. Ignoring the consistent E minor bass line for a moment, the harmonic progression in the synth pad is E minor, B minor 7, E minor, a 6-3-6, or speaking relatively, a minor 1-5-1 progression, very common but nicely setting up the home key. This is followed by E minor 7, E sus over B, E minor, again outlining the same 6-3-6 pattern but with some variation to keep it from getting too repetitive. The first pattern repeats but then closes out with a very interesting E minor 7, E sus over B, A7, using a dominant 7th chord, teasing a key change to D major but completely turning that on its head by dropping out entirely, creating an atmosphere that leaves us hanging.
Check it. Yeah.
Of course, when listening to it, it doesn't sound so unresolved because this is also the moment when Joey comes in with the first verse. Joey wastes no time, immediately placing us in the setting of the song, Kumamoto, the land of the hills and the grottos, followed by a situational setting as well with Welcome to the Roadshow of the Nippon Trio.
Kumamoto, the land of the hills and the grotto. Welcome to the roadshow of the Nippon Trio.
Based on the swinging of his rhythms and the slightly song-like contours of his flow, Joey is clearly channeling the vibes of early 90s hip-hop from the West Coast, mimicking the relatively relaxed sounds of artists like Digital Underground, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and even Tupac's more party-oriented hits.
Now let me welcome everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot.
The following lines show off Joey's ability to combine multiple techniques into lyrics that outline the actual narrative of the boys' day. We are in the Dome Home being a clear example of internal rhyme, while Wouldn't You Know and Royal Zone make use of lexical assonance or slant rhymes that allow our brains to make the connection to the rhyme scheme without literally needing to rhyme the words, a technique employed in all kinds of rap from modern club trap hop to the advanced lyricism of politically charged East Coast underground.
We're in the Dome Home, and wouldn't you know, we got first-class tickets to the Royal Zone.
The lyrics themselves, referencing the dome-shaped building they stayed the night in, makes a clear statement on the state of social segregation in Aso Farm Village by mentioning the Royal Zone, an area that is well within the boys' financial range as indicated by having a first-class ticket there, but one in which they purposely chose not to stay at, perhaps as retribution against a capitalist society that favors the rich at the expense of the lower classes. Joey then follows this up with some classic hyping of himself and his fellow members, stating again that Chris has an admirable amount of money, he himself is a skilled rapper, and allowing Natsuki to show off his own skill by passing it off in the chorus.
Hey, yo, I got the flow, Chris got the pay. Hey, yo, my man Natsuki, tell him what you say.
The chorus is where the true blending of styles comes together, with Natsuki's lines taking a more modern party rap approach with simple singable lines. This starts with him simply spelling out Aso, a reference to both the titular volcano as well as his family name, implying that he is mighty like the active volcano they find themselves at.
A-S-O, so much volcano, come on.
So much volcano is an obvious statement that with both he and Mount Aso in the same place, there is a huge amount of power built up in one location. The repeating line, no volcano, is a diss on the volcano itself, as Natsuki, a human sharing its name, uses the simple two-word phrase to subtly imply that the volcano is unworthy of the name Aso, especially in his presence.
So much volcano, come on. Yeah. No volcano, no volcano.
On the musical side of things, we can also hear Natsuki's appreciation for punk rock coming to the forefront with a more song-like quality than Joey's minor pitch inflections. The notes themselves are difficult to discern, hovering around B, C, G, and E, but this pitch obscurity is what allows the words to better blend and flow in and out of the rap verses. Often, rap songs with beautifully sung choruses can come across as jarring, as the dichotomy of rhythmic, typically non-melodic rapping and rhythmically simpler singing is something that, over time, we've simply grown used to hearing. By blurring the lines, Natsuki and Joey's rhythmic melodies flow into one another with only a minimal change in musical quality, their voices and pronunciation being the most drastic change. The chorus comes to an end with Natsuki's line, too much volcano, likening himself to a volcano once again in a fresh take on the there isn't room for the both of us cliche.
A-S-O, too much volcano.
The repetition of the word nowhere takes the idea that nowhere is safe when he's around, leaving him with nowhere to go, following with an emotional realization of his own isolation in the wake of having so much power. Oh my god.
Nowhere, nowhere, oh my god.
Verse 2 has Joey joining in on the volcano dissing, calling it bleak but reassuring us that all is well because he's with the bros.
Now we're chilling at the peak of the volcano. It looks kinda bleak, but it's okay though. I'm with the bros, surrounded by...
Here he once again hypes up Natsuki, telling the listeners to brace themselves cause it's about to get loud, clearly saying that Natsuki, the volcano man, is about to take over and come in louder and stronger than Mount Aso itself.
So for clouds, so brace yourselves cause it's about to get loud. A-S-O, too much volcano.
Natsuki takes the liberty of changing up the lyrics for the second chorus, demonstrating his ability to think on the fly in a foreign language. He starts with the too much volcano line this time around, but for the second part says danger volcano, continuing off the realization of his own magnificence, to which even the Wilhelm scream is added to convey just how incredible Natsuki is.
A-S-O, danger volcano. No volcano.
Verse 3 has Joey now making meta references about rap itself, beginning fairly simple by mentioning that the boys' journey through Kyushu is Natsuki's holiday, while once again mentioning their wealth with the inclusion of black tatami, an incredibly rare type of flooring that even the rich man Chris has only experienced twice as of this occasion.
By the way, it's Natsuki's holiday, a getaway to a faraway place of stay. Kurokawa Black River like these tatami, I like pizza. Extra salami.
While many would say that the following line about pizza and salami is just a cheap way to rhyme something with tatami, Joey has actually unconsciously made a callback to Eminem's hit track Lose Yourself, in which the rapper famously states the food-related line,
"There's vomit on his sweater already, mom's spaghetti."
Like earlier in the song where Joey commented on the classist segregation of Aso Farm Village and also mentioned his rap skills, he now humbles himself from the auspicious black tatami by letting us know that he is still a regular person like the rest of us, much like how Eminem said that on the surface he looks calm and ready in spite of his obvious nerves. Joey is just a regular guy with great rap skills.
Mount Aso, you asshole. You know? This is going to be more difficult than I thought.
Someone who likes commoner food like pizza, whereas he actually allows Natsuki to say the line extra salami, passing the rhyme off to someone else for an unexpected change of flow. Natsuki's line also musically suspends us for 2 extra beats, creating a space where we can't be sure when the beat will come back in, though Chris has cleverly added in a hollow resonant sound effect that has been used to lead us in and out of choruses throughout, keeping the listener grounded by way of a barely noticeable effect.
River like these tatami, I like pizza. Extra salami. A-S-O.
The third chorus is simply a repetition of the first, as evidenced by So Much Volcano and Natsuki's ad-libbed Come On. The fourth verse, however, has Joey winding things down, stating that he and the boys have arrived at the onsen and are shabbing in the banks by the riverside.
We in the onsen, my boys and I, we'll be shabbing in the banks by the riverside. J-A-J-U.
To understand this line, we have to understand the use of the word shabbing, a reference to the act of cooking meat shabu shabu style, the word itself having been invented by Natsuki.
Really? Shabu doing shabbing.
Shabbing.
Okay.
The obvious meaning of the line is exactly what it means, as the boys are staying at a high-end ryokan where they were served shabu shabu for dinner. The secondary meaning is a reference to the boys themselves in the onsen typically being very hot baths,
It really is like shabu shabu. You've got these.
and Joey stating that the three of them are people of great importance, much like how the meat for shabu shabu is usually quite high quality. This then closes out with the final chorus, an electric guitar melody coming to the forefront and carrying us into the outro by dropping the drums and synth, ending on the sound of a fading sequencer.
JJ. 2021.
Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, what the hell did I just watch? And if you aren't, you probably should be. I'm not really sure what the ratio of people who do know my content to people who don't will be for this video, and I'm not even sure if it'll get any attention, but either way, I had a lot of fun making it. I've been doing a lot of work on more complex soundtrack reviews and analyses lately, and I think I just really needed to do a funny little shit post to ease off some of the tension from all of that. This did still take a little bit of work to put together, but for the most part, it was just a fun way for me to dick around and read too far into things. And in case anyone's still unclear, yes, this is a shit post. I know Joey and Natsuki's lyrics don't mean anything like what I said they mean. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to comment down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and hey, let's see if we can get Chris and the boys to notice this. And if you're more interested in my usual reviews and analyses, make sure to support me over on Patreon, where you'll have access to things like voting rights on future video topics, as well as all the transcriptions I do for my analyses, including Too Much Volcanoes. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Yourselves, cause it's about to get loud.
ASO. Too much volcano. No volcano. No volcano. ASO. DJ volcano. No volcano. No volcano.